Jeff Gibbons with another quick YouTube video, and in this one I'm going to show you Auras and Cycles by Slate+Ash. And they're on sale right now. I'll have a link in the bottom so you can check out that one. I do have affiliate link, so if you click the link, I will get a portion of the proceeds. So thanks for helping me out there. Let's get into it. I'm going to show you a little song I made. I'm not going to be going into the details of the software. I'm just going to show you how I did what I did. But if you are interested in this software, you really need to go check out some other YouTube videos on how to use this software. It is very complex, even though it is a very minimal looking interface. So let's listen to the song and then I'll show you exactly what I did. And that's all this video is going to be. So I hope you dig it. I'd say it's about 90% cycles and auras. The only sounds in here that are made by something else, I've got a little Gasper kit, which was coming from Basement Era, one of my favorite expansions for Machine. And then I've also got an upright bass that is kind of integral in this one. And that is just the old classic upright bass that comes with the factory library of Contact, the Jazz Upright. So let's look at the first thing that started this whole song off, this sleep piano. That is auras. So if you go over to the auras instrument, you get auras and colors. So auras are a combination of up to four different colors. And so if you want the individual ones, you go over to this colors menu, and that's what I did here. So I just found a single sound called Sleep Tapes Piano Improv. So all I did for this one was turn the arpeggiator on. It does have a swing setting. It's kind of weird. It's like goes from 0 to like 9 or something like that. But I put it to 5. That gave a nice swing because I wanted to do something that was a little more hip-hoppy. I would say the software works better for electronic experimental stuff that doesn't have a swing to it, because I didn't find a swing setting in the Cycles software, but there is a swing setting in Auras, so I turned that on here. And if you look at the interface, it's obviously very minimalist. You've got amplitude envelope right here, ADSR, you've got filter envelope, filter settings down below, and then you've got a whole modulation matrix, which you can then assign things to, things like the C board. Again, I'm just scratching the surface, but with this software, I think you're going to get more out of it if you have a rolly C board. But if you look at these little icons here, you can start to make sense of them if you click on them and see what they are. So this one is volume, this one is a low pass filter, high pass filter. So let's look at the next patch and then see if we can learn a little bit more about it. Pad here, which is an Auras patch. I can turn this color off, and then I can turn this one off. Now there's nothing. And this one I added some automation to it. Okay, let's look at the next patch. So the next patch that I've got in here is some loops. So I went over to Cycles for this one. And Cycles is a very bizarre looking virtual instrument. What you're looking at here is a way for this software to chop up a loop. And each one of these squares is a rhythmic division of that loop. So what you can do is you can say, okay, let's chop this loop up into 16th note chunks. So now what I can do is I can go and turn off some of these slices so that they jump to the next one. So say I just want the rest of these off. So I think I need these guys off too. Now I've just got one bar. Oh, I need one more slice. So I've just turned this into a 1-bar loop that just keeps repeating. I can then turn some of the slices in different directions. I click right here, drag up, and now it's going to go backwards. And then I can drag again, and I can have it go random. So this is how you work with the software in a loop. You can also go over to a sequencer and control things like the pitch, the position, the volume, and the direction independently. If I turn the sequencer on. But you're going to want to dig into the manual for that one. I didn't mess around with that at all. But another thing I did play around with on Cycles was this granular aspect. So I can click over on grains right here, or the G, and that takes us to a granular option. So then I can take this position and move that in the sample or the loop. I can make the size of the grains smaller or bigger. And then I can make the density or really short grains. Let me go back to where I found this one. It was just machines, nothing to do with machine. Okay, so that was the original loop that I used, and all I did with that one is played the loop in a pattern, put it down, dragged it from this menu right here, holding it down, and then dragged it onto a new group. So I dragged it onto this group right here, then I went over to machine and turned it into a sampler, and I went into the sampling menu, and I sliced it up. Played it as a beat in my song. And then I was able to add swing to it. Anyways, I made the beat out of a Cycles loop and kind of defeating the purpose of Cycles in some way. But what I wanted to do was get something that swung, and I don't think Cycles has a way to swing the beat. So kind of had to go with my favorite thing to do in Machine, which is just to sample stuff. Anyways, and the other thing I'll say about both of these programs is that they're hard on the CPU. I'm working with an old 2013 Mac, and it's having some problems. So I had to adjust the latency over in Preferences here under the audio menu in order to get the CPU to stop clipping. So the next thing I've got is another little beat, and this one, E flat. So that was the Cycles loop that I used. Next one we've got is a little piano intro. Now this one was really neat. This was made by Cycles. And all I did here was take a user sample. So the coolest thing with this software is you can take a loop of some sort and drag it into Cycles. So I went over to some loops that I got from adsrsounds.com. I got some sort of lo-fi sounds. I went over and looked for some piano loops. And so as you can see, these blocks are the ones that are playing. So the original sound was like this. And I went through and kind of hacked out a bunch of those more complex chords, so it was a little simpler. I can't remember what I did, but it's something like this. And that's it. So it's not a very visual way of working with sound in the sense that you don't get to see your waveforms or anything like that. You know, you're just chopping sounds up according to these little blocks. It's not what I was expecting, but I ended up getting some interesting results with this little song. So I've got a bass sound that comes in on this kind of verse part. So that was this beautiful patch. And the thing I noticed is if you play with this, if you get that crackly sound, you don't want it, try playing with the envelope a bit. And that's going to ease in the attack of each of those greens. Synth just for some of those low notes in there. And then I've got another auras patch here for some strings. It's got some beautiful sounds in there. Have a listen to this one as well. So just some played notes, and I put the swing at 3 or whatever it is on that one. So I probably should put them all the same, but it didn't matter too much on this little tune. And then I've got another thing here. So this was just some sort of sparkles that I had in there. It was ornaments, and I played around with the settings until it kind of brought a nice shine. And then my upright was just my and then we've got the saxophone patch at the end. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how somebody might make some music with this software. Just keep in mind it is hard on the processor, and we'll see you in the next video.